Friday, January 29th. I don't think there's 29 days in February this year, so maybe this is the last 29th that we hit for a while, a couple of months. We're going to go over a lot today. So first off, I'm going to put in the coupon code into the paid newsletter this morning for all the Savvy Trader portfolios so that you get for free as a paid subscriber to the newsletter. We got big earnings. We got a Fed press conference this afternoon. If the Fed decides to actually hike rates and F the entire economy, call your mom. Call your mom, because the market is pricing in either a cut, which is unlikely, which would make the actual market just raise, soar, or it's pricing in nothing. And it's really pricing in nothing. If we get nothing, then it just determines it's going to be based on what Powell says. If he talks about tariffs, if he talks about Trump reducing spending in government, if he talks about anything of that sort, it's just about which. When you fart in a restaurant and the ceiling fan is on, does the person to your right or the left smell it, or does the entire restaurant smell it? That's what the press conference is about. That's it. So we're going to be talking about all that. One thing that Patrick from the newsletter asked me to do a video about how I use Trendspider specifically with the 4-hour. He says he listens on his way to work and can't really look at the charts and things like that. So I'm gonna work on something for you, Patrick. Hopefully it works out. But yeah, I'll do something for you because you listen on Spotify. There is video on Spotify. The way I've always envisioned it is that you use the newsletter as your Cliff Notes, and older folks will understand what Cliff Notes are. But the newsletter really comes down to, hey, you can pay to support it, and there's a few little different things in the paid newsletter. Like I give a little more market overview. I give some strategy tips, and the paid newsletter. There's also the education section. So I've always viewed it as a kind of a guide. So if you don't get, if you listen, just kind of stick in your mind 2 or 3 things that I talk about, and then if you go to the newsletter, you'll find it. And so I think it's good. So we'll do something like that for the paid newsletter. It's a great suggestion. If anybody in the paid newsletter has a suggestion for a video or something they'd like me to do, just let me know. I think Patrick's more interested in how I use the 4-hour algorithm and some of the strategies that are in Trendspider, because I think people that have Trendspider, my goal is to get you to use Trendspider the way I do. I can't live without Trendspider. I can't trade without it. I don't care what the price is. Dan at Trendspider could raise the price to $5,000 a year, and I'd gladly pay it. I'm sucked in. It's just one of those things. I've tried trading without it, and I don't do well. And so I want to know the 4-hour algorithm. Are we in? Are we out? I want to know where the MACD is. I want to know where the RSI is. I want to know where the volume sliders are. I want to be able to draw trend lines. I want to be able to draw Fibonacci's because I'm learning about those now. I want to be able to look at my strategy and say, hey, does it work? That's what Trendspider is. Almost 40 years, I didn't pay for a tool. I had free tools. It was perfectly fine. And so then, I had a larger portfolio, went into COVID, wound up losing a bunch of money, said, I want something that's going to help me a little bit more. And I found 2 things. I found Trendspider and I found Seeking Alpha. So let's go over Trendspider first because it's a charting program. What you see here are the entries and exits in my 4-hour algorithm on QQQ. How do I use the 4-hour in QQQ? I look at entries, okay? I don't look at, oh my God, I've got to get out of this. If it pulls back 5% or more, I may trim. But I'm not looking at the exits as a way to sell something like QQQ. Why? Well, look at the weekly chart, because when you pull back, Wolf always says it, when in doubt, pull out. Like that should be that should be on the bedroom like mantra for Tyreek Hill when he meets a new baby mama. When in doubt, pull out. But here's the thing, when you pull out to a weekly chart on QQQ, when are you getting out and when are you getting back in? There's a psychology that I just haven't figured out. Because the reality of it is, I want to know the entry in the 4-hour, but I don't want to miss out on these big runs. So I look at the 4-hour and I draw a weekly. I draw a trend line. Remember, you touch 3 points. This touches quite a bit more than 3 points. Do I want to add in a ton when I'm above that? No. I want to add in a ton when you pull back to that trend line. So I add in sparingly when the 4 hour gets me in there. That's how I use the 4 hour on that. How do I use the 4 hour on something like Roblox, which is a crazy stock? I look at it like, hey, I got an entry in Roblox. It wins 48% of the time. Or, I just did this strategy last night based on a Trendspider post. I said Tesla. They posted that they have a great strategy, and they didn't tell me the strategy, but I built it. And you know what? It wins 50% of the time. Okay, over the last 14 months. And I just tested it 14 months. I didn't go back a ton. I said 14 months is plenty for me to know. And you can see back here, this is all the entries and exits. It wins 50% of the time. The reality is it makes you 88% return versus the buy and hold of 65%. 14 months, this stock has been in an upward cycle. You had one time when it was out, and it got you out during that time period. So if you want this strategy, I will share it in the newsletter. Again, the newsletter is just like the Cliff Notes. I will share it. You can see strategy performance, 88% versus buy and hold at 65, 50% win rate. Now you may say, well, I don't have Trendspider. How do I get Trendspider? You go to Linktree, linktr.ee/daily stock pick, okay? You click that top link, and that top link takes you to a page where you can look at the different plans. Now, I steer people towards the advanced plan. And the reason I steer people towards the advanced plan is the unlimited one-on-one training. Let me give you a little bit story of Eli, who's in the chat window right now on YouTube. Eli has had Trendspider for over a year, and he decided to do the one-on-one training. Okay, I don't know if he upgraded his plan. I don't know if he paid the money for a specific one-on-one plan, but he got a one-on-one training from Trendspider. I'll just game changing. He said the dashboard, things that I don't even go over on this podcast. And the reason is I don't use them, but you could use them. So there's so much more out there that Trendspider has done that you could benefit from. That's why I lead people to, for at least 1 year, get the advanced. And then you can pull back to the enhanced or the standard. Okay, to find out what you use. He says he upgraded his plan. So when you upgrade your plan to the advanced, you get unlimited one-on-one trade. Think of it this way, and this is the way I put people in. You're going to take a training class for a year, okay? The training class is going to cost you $992 for a year, but you don't get a set schedule of training classes. You're going to take 2 courses per month. What's that? $41 per course per month for 12 months. That's what it is. And they throw in the tool. Okay, they throw that in. And then next year, you can go down to the enhanced and you can get one-on-one free training session for the year just to bolster up your skills. Find out what you want to use. Again, what it comes with is my 4-hour algorithm. I will include a bunch of other algorithms that you could put in, strategies that I've built. It also comes with the ability to basically see something on Trendspider like this. The strategy takes some time to hit, but when RSI is over 50 and the MACD is bullish, it's ultimate long signal on Tesla. Enters on a daily when both are in agreement, exits when they're not. I just took that language, put it into Trendspider. I'm not a coder. I'm not somebody that understands exactly what this does, but I said when the MACD and the RSI are bullish, give me an entry. And then I get this spit out, and it gives me a strategy. And it tells me when to buy and sell. This is the 4-hour. The 4-hour has you out right now. Now, I like the 4-hour algorithm. It gives you 191% return versus a 210% buy and hold return. It wins 48% of the time. This is my tried and true. So if I want to get into Tesla, I'm using this one. But if I want to go back to the Tesla strategy, and I just go back to, let's see, Tesla strategy. Where is it? I'm going to have to type in Tesla. There it is, Tesla strategy daily. And we look at this one. This one has you in it $221 right there. Okay? $221. Boy, and it still has you in at 401. That's a great return. It's a great return. So again, you've just got to, if you have Trendspider and you've gotten it through me, you should have the 4 hour. My goal is to make sure that you're comfortable with this tool. So if you have any questions on this, just go and ask me. But again, I'll put all of this in the newsletter for Tesla's earnings today. Another thing that Trendspider has is Palantir. Look at this, Palantir and custom indicators. You can import custom indicators. This is the RSI MACD confluence. Okay, they have created an indicator for you that tells you when to go and no go. Okay, green means go, red means get out, and white means hold. Okay, this is a good indicator. Look at how well it times Palantir. Timed it on the earnings and said, hey, move in, move in. So I like that one. Green means go. Get into Palantir before the earnings. That's what they're saying. And you can import this. I'll include this link in the newsletter. Okay. Let's go over biggest movers of the day. This is just F5 killed it last night. F5 is a cybersecurity platform. And I own CrowdStrike and I own Palo Alto Networks. I do not own F5. But if you look, their valuation is less than Palo Alto Networks. Because if you look at the valuation here, 19, that's pretty good. The PEG ratio, that'll go up as they start to grow because their growth has been D+, but they did raise their guidance last night. Wall Street says it's worth $282. It's trading at $302. It's a pretty good, again, we're going to go back here and we're going to go to the biggest movers again because ASML is another one. This is Applied Materials. These guys make the materials for Taiwan Semi and other fabs that actually make chips. They killed it. So what do you think is going on? Taiwan Semi is expanding their plants. NVIDIA is printing a record number of chips because we know China is training on those chips. Again, semis are doing well. Biggest loser, AlphaPix, Lending Club, down 22% after the company reported mixed Q4 results and weak Q1 guidance. And here's the thing. AlphaPix, it's part of the bundle, part of the Seeking Alpha bundle where you get premium and AlphaPix. I have AlphaPix. Here's the killer part, and it does hurt to lose 22%. But the great part about AlphaPix is it's a portfolio, and the portfolio greatly outpaces the S&P. So if you just want a no-brainer kind of thing, I don't think about this. I absolutely do not think about my AlphaPix. People are asking me, CLS, Celestica, it's an alpha pick. They're reporting after the bell today. They've had a great run and they just pulled back a ton. Would you be buying more? Are you selling it? No. It's an alpha pick for me. Do I sell it? I wait until they tell me to sell it. And the great thing about LendingTree being down 22%, I'm not losing sleep at night because the reality is when they tell you when to buy a stock on the 1st and the 15th of each month. It's 1%. So I put in $50,000 into AlphaPix, okay? I think it was 2 months ago they told me to buy LendingTree. It's 1% of my portfolio. If it goes to zero, I'm down 1%. You lost more than 1% in an hour on NVIDIA the other day, and you're sitting there holding NVIDIA, and you're going to worry about a 20% drop of 1% of your portfolio? I'm not worried about it. Again, they know how to manage a portfolio. And when it comes to LendingTree, they will give you a detailed breakdown of LendingTree today after earnings. So I like AlphaPix. How do you get these? You go to the link tree. If you want the bundle, you can get the bundle. You save $159. If you want just Seeking Alpha Premium, you get $30 off and a free 7-day trial. If you just want AlphaPix, you get $50 off. Okay? It's a great portfolio. But again, am I worried about Lending Club? No, I'm not. I'm just not. What did we learn from Deepseek scare? Okay, if you were in the markets, if you listened to me Monday, I said call your mom. It's a horrible day, blah, blah, blah. What did we learn of this? And this article goes over some great stuff. But one of the things, the last one that I want to point out, The market is telling us that cheap, often open source AI is a good thing. Less AI related CapEx means larger buybacks and higher dividends from established companies that can market useful AI tools to global user bases. Their past investments are sunk cost irrelevant to tomorrow's stock prices. AI is now a product development and marketing challenge, not a sinkhole for capital. That's the co-founder of DataTrek Research. What she's saying is that, yes, we have spent a ton of money on AI in this country. And yes, if the claims from China are true that they spent less money, and it's likely they spent far less money. It's not likely they spent $6 million. It's likely they spent $500 million to $1 billion. Okay, but we've spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 billion already. Trump just announced a $500 billion investment into AI and data centers. So as long as the money was spent and we have the compute power now to get to enhance ourselves and to enhance it the way Deepseek did, it tells us those companies are well set up. And now AI is a product development and a marketing challenge. It's no longer a compute challenge. Does that mean that you get rid of NVIDIA? No. Zuckerberg just bought a ton of NVIDIA chips. You will still need NVIDIA chips to do this. It just may not grow the way. Remember, the comps from last year are going to be tough for NVIDIA to hold up to. Their growth is going to be a little tough. But what this article did down at the bottom, it gives you some of the ETFs that you can get exposure to that are a little bit more tech related. And maybe you want to get out of those Mag 7s and into ETFs. Okay? It's a great, great article. I thought it was very, very well done. And here's the thing. Trump, we know he talks a tough game, but we know he loves these leaders in China, in North Korea, in Russia. A possible U.S.-China trade deal by Trump could take China equities higher from Cantor Fitzgerald. They give you a great list by quant rating of Chinese companies that you can invest in. Okay? It's a great, great list. And FXI, just so you know, FXI is a buy in the quant. FXI is the leading China large cap ETF. And it hasn't done super well. Year to date, oh, come on, Seeking Alpha. These guys keep telling me it's an Apple problem. I am on Chrome. Okay, year to date, you're up 5%. So, again, if you look at the holdings of this one, the number one, 8%. Alibaba. Number 2 is Tencent. Tencent is the owner of TikTok. Number 3 is Minuten Class B. I don't even know what it is. But if you want the shares, FXI is the way to go if you want China exposure, but you don't want to go with a single company. Like Baba. And remember, Baba, I said it yesterday, Baba showed off their latest AI. They were at 10% yesterday, somewhere in that neighborhood, 97. Look at that high at 115. The 52-week range is to 117. You're right in the middle. So am I buying into this one? No. Is it a likely kind of risky one? Yeah. Cybersecurity went nuts yesterday. Absolutely nuts. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to look at my 2 holdings, PanW. Here in the 4-hour algorithm, had you in at 173. Okay. MACD was way down. RSI oversold. Which means it was due for a bounce. You're at 189 right now. Couple of days, really, really good gains. Let's look at the weekly, because are we stretched? No. I mean, you just hit the 50-day. Last time you hit the 50-day, we continued upward. You know, the MACD, not as high as it's been, high, but it's not like, it's like signal to me that it's going to crash. Now we can look at CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike was up almost 10% yesterday. CrowdStrike is one. In the 4-hour algorithm, it makes you 256% versus 307% buy and hold. I am a buy and hold guy on CrowdStrike. Where'd the algorithm get you in? $361. You're trading at $399 now. The algorithm wins 59% of the time. Again, you want the algorithm? Sign up for Trendspider. It could, I bought here. Were you buying when it was at $200? I was, because the algorithm got you in at 200. I waited until we had confirmation. I bought here. Was I happy when it started pulling back? No. Did I buy more? Yes, the algorithm told me to. Did I get out on any of this? No. We're trading sideways. We are in for a bigger run. And you pull up a weekly chart on CrowdStrike, and you can see we're in positive territory. We're moving again. We're moving past the previous all-time highs, and we will use that as support. Look at how the MACD reset itself. And the RSI is now up at 65. And you've got earnings coming up, let's see, March 3rd. You can also look at Sentinel, Zscaler, Fortinet, any one of those. Any one of those. And here's some homework for you, okay? This one, Environtech, it was up 60% in pre-market. It's an EV. Is this one you will invest in? It's homework for you. Environtech vehicle stock rally 60% on sales order under New Jersey zero emissions incentive. Is that one that's good for you? Go and do your homework. Okay, another homework one. Obesity drug developer Metsera sets terms for $275 million IPO. $275 million. Do you want to get into the GLP-1 space? Because this one has a ultra long acting drug for GLP-1. And it's not IPO yet. Go and do your research on it. So a little bit of homework for you. Let's go over to Trendspider because I do want to focus on Trendspider. And we're going to go to the daily stock pick watch list. This is just one that I created. I add to it every now and then. So if you sign up through me, you get this watch list. Let's just go over some of these. Okay. I added a new one yesterday and it's WCLD. This is the Wisdom Tree Cloud Computing ETF. Look, algorithm got you in there at 37. The MACD was way down. The RSI was oversold at 21 on this one. Okay, the algorithm makes you 33% versus 61% buy and hold. It wins 37% of the time. I would argue it is not a great one to play the algorithm. But with this one hanging out around the 200-day with the cloud computing fund, okay, and software, we're going into an AI space, software should rebound. And you can go over to Seeking Alpha and WCLD, and we can go and look at the holdings on this one, okay? The holdings, Twilio, which is an alpha pick, Bill Holdings, Atlassian, DocuSign, Fastly, Freshworks, Toast, Cloudflare, HubSpot, 64 positions, okay? 64 positions. You can go look at the peers. You can see CLOU. You can look at the expense ratio, 0.45. TECB, the U.S. Tech Breakthrough Multi-Sector, 0.30. And then you can look at the price return. And you can see ESPO over 1 year has a 46% return. ESPO is the VanEck video game and esport. This is the path. The quant rating on OGIG, which is Alps O shares, global internet giants and ETF shares. This one is up 32%. So it's beating WCLD. So again, that one's a strong buy in the quant. This is the rabbit hole that you can go down in Seeking Alpha. It is really, really good. But you start out with all these charts. Let's just go over stuff. How do I use the 4-hour algorithm? I'm just going to use the down button by going through this watch list. Affirm looks pretty good heading into earnings. Are we going to go for another leg up? Take a look at a weekly. The algorithm makes you 146%. I'm okay with 146%. We don't even, we just got the 200-day down here at 43. It looks like that 51 is going to provide you some support. It's pulled back several times on the weekly just to that 51. Maybe that one's one that you could look at. AIQ, which is a global artificial intelligence technology. Look at this one. Okay, 60% it makes you. Over 22 positions, win 59% of the time. You can make money there. A-Lab, which is an AI space, which NVIDIA invested in. And I don't even know what they do. But it had you out with a 208% gain. The algorithm got you in at 41, got you out with a 208% gain in January. Hasn't gotten you back in. Heading into earnings on February 10th. I'm going to hit the down button. AMD. I own chips. I own NVIDIA. And I own Broadcom. I don't own AMD. I just don't believe in it. Why? Well, look at the algorithm. It just doesn't work really well. And I'm like, I just don't want to own that one because the algorithm it's not trending in the right direction. Amgen. which is a drug pharma company. I've got this one in there. Look at this one. Nice turning 50-day. And it's not at the 200-day. The 200-day is at 298. Could this one be turning around? Well, look, it just bounced off the 200-day. The MACD is super low. Again, you just go down this list. Arista Networks. This one pulled back 10, 15%, used its 200-day. Okay, at 102, you're at 105. That would be a nice move if you just bought it at the 200-day. The algorithm makes you 161%. It wins 83% of the time. It had you in here at 100. It got you out with a 4% gain. It will get you back in. Take a look at a weekly, because this one, you don't even notice that blip, but we will recover so that that trend line continues. Just the MACD super high. Identify your time frame. Maybe it's on the 4-hour. ANF. I've said this one is ready to go. It broke the trend up there. See how it's below? But now our MACD reset. The RSI at 35 coming up on earnings in March. This one could get a nice gap fill up here to 147 to 155 where it dropped down. Look at the volume spike on that one. Okay. Do we have a volume up higher? When you pull it back to its highest level here, the volume shelves just aren't around. But it's above, it's between 129 and 161. So I like it. And this is how you use this software and how I use it. AppLovin has you in at 333 or 356. You got a nice little gap fill up here to the 400. You take a look at a weekly on this one and just go, we don't have a 200-day because it's a relatively new stock. MACD super high. Do you believe in it? Their earnings are coming up, let's see, February 10th. Okay, ARM Holdings. This one is a brand new one. We don't have a 200-day on the weekly, but this one, the algorithm makes you 186% versus 164% buy and hold. It has you in at 136. You're trading at 147. I like this one, but I do think that 174, you can go and research it in Seeking Alpha. Broadcom. This one has had a big pullback. I own this one. I own this one at around 130. It got you out. I will be getting back into this one. I'm currently holding, but I will start adding to this because my plan is in March to start taking some long-term capital gains, and I like this stock. This is the chip stock where if Google is going to make their chips, they're using Broadcom. If Amazon's going to make their chips, they're using Broadcom. If Medic's going to start making their chips, they're using Broadcom. It's a competitor to Credo, CRDO, which is one of the top 10 alpha picks or Seeking Alpha picks for 2025. So I like this one. That weekly MACD looks extended. But am I getting out of it? No. But am I using the 4-hour algorithm to get in? Yes. Boeing is on this watch list. Boeing just pre-announced earnings that they were doing, and their earnings didn't take them down, but the pre-announcement did. Algorithm has you on in 175. I think in a good day, that's a $200 stock. You have Bitcoin ETF. You have Booking Holdings, which has just been soaring and pulled back to its 200-day. Okay, BLDR, which is a building resources company. Cardinal Health, which is a former alpha pick that they got out of, and it started to move. Look at the 200-day now moving positive, 50-day moving positive. They still like this stock. They just got out because it was a rules-based portfolio and they had to get out, and they haven't added it back in. Caterpillar makes you 53% versus 57% buy and hold. The 4-hour algorithm just seems to protect you. CLS, Celestica, it's under $100. Remember when this was trading at 120? And I said, boy, I'd like to get this one under $100. I will. It's an alpha pick. I'm going to add this to my portfolio. I like this one. I really, really like that stock. Coinbase is one. Coin is at 281. I have CONL. This one's down a little bit. I believe in CONL. I just think Coinbase is going to pop at some point in time. When do they have earnings? They have earnings coming up. Looks like February 13th, 14th. CrowdStrike, we went over. Datadog. You've got a lot of names in this portfolio. And you can just hit the down button, look at those stocks, look at the 4-hour algorithm and say, maybe this is one that I want to get into. Oklo is up 3% today. Oklo makes you 122% in the 4-hour algorithm. The buying and holding makes you 200%. Do I think that this one's got more room to run? Absolutely. Absolutely on hype. PSIX is up 3%. This one's a little funky because of the data in Trendspider with the changing from over the counter to Nasdaq. So it doesn't, look at the entry, but not the, not the past performance. It's going to perform well. It did previously before they changed it. Sentinel. We just talked about Sentinel. This is in the core portfolio. This is in the watch list. 2214 right there. Okay, you got a gap fill up there. You could literally spend all day going down just this list. It's a huge list. It's got a lot of names. And the reason it's there is because it's stocks that I've talked about, looked at, or once mentioned. And I put it into here and I clean it up every now and then. When names need to come out, you got Granny Shots ETF, which is Tom Lee's ETF right there, which you can see it started trading. Okay, started trading with just $20 is where it got you in to 2071. It's not a great ETF in my opinion. But again, the guy wanted to grift, so he did that. So we looked at this. I've got some notes. Is AppLovin getting ready for a move higher? CLS, is this one too stretched? Coin maybe due for a pop. I'm holding CONL. Crowd pop. Datadog looks like it's regaining strength. Dell is just breaking down. GDX, which is the gold miners, looks to be turning. GEV just started to come back. That's GE Vernova. GM pulled back to support at $50. We can go and look at GM. Look at this one. It just pulled back. It broke down on support. Is it using this as resistance again? Because it used it as resistance before. But this ran all the way up to 60. It's still a strong buy in the quant. MHO looks interesting to return back to its high. MOD needs to find support because I just don't see a downside support with earnings. It could pop. It's coin flip. Arista Networks, or NET, Cloudflare, I'm sorry, going back to all-time highs. Oklo looks strong. Okta could be going back up. So I've also got a note in here for myself to mention. We'll go back to the core investments. Brad Gerstner was on yesterday. He was on CNBC down in Miami at a conference. And he said, he was talking about NVIDIA. Did you buy the dip yet on Monday? Because he believes that this one is just priced too well to ignore. That's what he said. So let's talk about what's actually moving stocks. The Fed will move stocks today. Like I said, we've got a lot of potential volatility. So you want to watch the VIX, you want to watch the 10-year, you want to watch that stuff. If you're watching stuff, if you have bets in the market, I would just say that they probably will move today on bets. Your overall portfolio, you should be sitting and just holding. But Starbucks, it highlights earnings upside from return to coffee house vibe. Starbucks just did well. This is the first time they reported under the new CEO. He started bringing in some old colleagues from Taco Bell. He's engineering a turnaround. Now, it's expensive. It's expensive. Wall Street is probably chasing this one up. Yep, it's at 104, and they're going to start chasing this up. Remember, just in 2021, they had a $131 price target on this. It's trading at 106. Now, we can go and look at it in the 4-hour algorithm. This is not one, I don't go to Starbucks. Last time I went to Starbucks, I had my birthday hot chocolate. And I remember it was, I think, 80 grams of sugar. I was high for the rest of the day. I had IHOP French toast, and then I was just high for the rest of the day. Look at that. Algorithm got you in at 91. Okay? And it's been a turnaround stock. Do I think we're going to cover this gap here from 77? This was when the CEO was announced. That's the gap from 77 to 90. You're using 90 as your support. You just use 90 as your support. Wait 3 days. If it comes under 100, buy it under 100. Okay, ASML, we talk about chips. This one's up 6%. They killed it. They killed it on earnings. Chips are continuing to run. Then what do we have tonight? We've got Tesla. This is bullish as fuck right now, I'll tell you. This video that you're seeing right now are Teslas driving themselves out of the factory to their parking spot waiting to be delivered. It's bullish. I'm telling you, he's going to do something today that is going to move that stock. He's going to get a ton of questions about stuff. Let's go look at the chart. We looked at the chart. I had that 1 hour. I had my 4 hour. I am holding this one. I have about $500, which is a zero position for me. That's like, somebody that's like you spending $5 on lunch based on my net worth compared to most people. So please do not take the fact that I'm holding into earnings as some type of amazing, oh my God, I'm bullish on this one. I own a Tesla. I like Tesla. I have made mistakes in trading this one before. I don't know what I'm doing, just like most people don't know what they're doing. But the fact is, you have to have a thesis. And under $400, I think you add to this stock. But I don't want to add to this stock with all of the uncertainty around this current earnings. Because yes, last year was horrible, but is he going to actually up guidance? They're taking away the $7,500. If you believe that this is a robotics company, then this is still a fairly valued stock. If you believe that this is a car company, it's overvalued. So it depends on your thesis. But you've got earnings tonight. And then you've got Microsoft tonight as well. Microsoft is said to be probing if Deepseek improperly used OpenAI data. This is a whole article that says that Microsoft actually alerted OpenAI that somebody was scraping their data for training purposes. Now, Microsoft, they're going into earnings at $441. I'm nervous, okay? I'm nervous because when you look at this chart, they just haven't been able to pop that 472. And you look at this one. Yes, it's still the 50-day still moving up. The 200-day still moving up. We have a nice volume shelf building right here between 420 and 430. If you lose that volume shelf, 350 is your support there. And that's based on this pulling back to 2019 during this time. Now, if you pull this back, if you pull this forward a little bit to where we really started breaking down in 2021, you can see there's still some volume shelves there, but the main shelf is right here at 350. That's where most people are sitting and holding. But on a weekly, your MACD is low. Your RSI is 56. Strategy here. For me, if you don't have a lot of Microsoft, I would say don't get into it before earnings. Wait until after earnings. Because if this continues to go down, I think you've got a good buy. If it just soars, then you've missed the boat. But if it goes down, I think if you go below 400, I think this is a screaming buy below 400. And Meta's been positive for the last 7 sessions. It's down slightly today. They report after the bell. Okay, we can look at this chart. I have said it before. I've said it many times. I said if you could get this under 500, you should get it under 500. You had plenty of times to get it under 500. That's just July. Okay, if you're not holding this one, why didn't you buy in July? Why didn't you buy August 5th when the stock crashed down to, $450? Why didn't you buy? It's because you're scared. But the reality of this company is they are printing cash, okay? The algorithm got you in at 615 right there. 615, you're trading at 670. They have earnings coming up. They've been too positive. I would be much more positive on Meta if they came in at around 620. At 670, I'm nervous. Am I getting rid of it? No. I believe in the long term of this company. When you look at the weekly, the support level right here at 550 has been provided. So the absolute downside, where if I bought at 670, the absolute downside I would identify is 550. Until then, I'm actually starting to buy. So I'm actually dollar cost averaging if we pull back there. If this one goes under 600, go and get it. Okay? Meta is a hold in the quant. And when you look at Wall Street says it's worth $672. If it pulls back, you go ahead and buy it. I just think there's too many people that use these services. And he's got open source. And we just went over what the Deepseek stuff did. The reason this one's up is because the China Deepseek stuff has taught us open source will win. And right now, Meta has the top open source AI. Okay? Another one that's reporting earnings is Celestica. This one, again, it's a strong buy in the quant. This is an alpha pick. It's number 1 out of 16 in the electronic manufacturing services. Valuation B, growth B, profitability is a problem. It's a C+. But again, if they report really good earnings, this is not one of your major companies. It's an $11 billion market cap, okay? It trades 1.3 million shares per day. That is not a lot. So just realize this could absolutely pump back up to its all-time highs. What does Wall Street think it's worth? $105. What's the 52-week range? All the way up to 131. So if you see this one pull back, buy it. Look at that pullback. Did you buy here at 87 the other day? Because it was at 87. Okay, if you didn't, it's not on your watch list. You don't have a successful plan. If this was in your watch list and you didn't buy it, you haven't created a good plan. It's a top stock. Steve Kress's top 2025 stocks, you can see it's right there. It's a top stock for the year. So there again, let's talk about what's bullish in the 4-hour algorithm. Well, Bank of America, it's up almost 1% again today. You can see on a weekly right here, we've just broken out of that little range that I drew on the chart. See how it's, come on, Trendspider. The weekly, right there, that little range where it went up, pulled right back to the 200-day. Here on August 5th, again, at the 200-day, you had the chance to buy this at 35. It's at 47 right now. Okay, Nucor is one. Some of the ones on the watch list or on, I think, the top stocks, Jackson Financial. I think this is Jackson Financial. JXN is the symbol. This is one that's strong in the quant, $92. $92 the algorithm got you in. It's 97. Their earnings are coming up, let's see, February 17th. A little bit stretched. Look at the weekly. Look at the weekly. Did you buy it here last week when it pulled back down to 83? 83, it touched the 50-day. You don't have a 200-day. It's still new. And you can go over here, JXN. Let's just look at it. What's JXN? We'll go back to the summary and we'll see. It's a hold in the quant. When was it a hold in the quant? Let's go back and let's just look because I think this one was a strong buy at some point. It's been a hold in the quant for quite a while. It's a hold in the quant. There we go. It was a strong buy at 36 and they say hold. Where are you trading right now? Strong buy at 36. It's at 97. Okay. Valuation, perfectly fine. 5.71. The sector's at 12. Growth, 2,072% year over year growth. Okay. Profitability, a little bit of a problem. That's it. B minus, short term, you're minus 6%. Revisions, 3 up, 2 down, 2 up, 0 down. When you go and look at Wall Street, what does Wall Street say it's worth? They say it's worth $102, which is 5% upside. So this one has 5% upside. Now, when you look at the 4-hour, this one got all the way up to 115. Could it be going there? You've got the 50-day starting to move positive. So again, look at these charts, understand what you're looking at. It's not that hard. Trendspider makes it super, super easy. So I'll put all of these in the newsletter. If you have any questions, hit me up. Again, if you're a paid newsletter subscriber, just ask me questions. Okay, talk to you later.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.